Hey friends! Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Good Vibes with Yaya. And today we're discussing all things love languages. Yes, we're talking about how important they are and how to apply them to friendships and relationships. I'm joined by someone I consider the love language expert, Kariatu Jalloh. She is the CEO and founder of Boys to Kings, Krowned Konvos and Krowned Korner. Now, before we get started, I'm gonna need you to like and subscribe. Go ahead and do that for me. I know that's right. Now let's get started. Hey Kari, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So at your young age, you have so many different brands and it's very, very inspiring. So tell me, how did you come up with each and every one of your brands?
Okay, so my brand babies. My first brand baby was Krowned Korner, and it started off as just Crown. So I was at a rough phase in my life where I felt like I needed just structure and I needed to tap back into things that I loved. I've always loved writing. It's always been my escape. So I was like, okay, maybe I could start a blog. I knew nothing about blogging, creating a website, anything. So I had to start off just doing my research, and it really just became a passion project for me. Like I didn't expect it to become what it has become. So throughout my matriculation, I went from just blogging to someone, I guess, saw me speaking on Instagram and decided to book me for an event. So public speaking got thrown in there. And then I took that route and fell in love with that. So I wanted to just be the voice. And I also had changed majors around that time. So I became a journalism student. And when you have to write for school, writing for pleasure kind of takes a back seat. So blogging kind of took a back seat, but then Crown was able to grow into something much more. Next, I created Boys to Kings. I call myself a guy gal. Like guys have always just confided in me and things like that since I was young. So I was like, let me do something for them because I know there's so much out there for us, which is beautiful. But men, I felt like needed a platform where they felt motivated and inspired as well. So I started working on the mentoring program. That brand gives me a run for my money, but I won't give up. And then from there, Krowned Korner became such like a community. It just stood alone. So I decided to make a podcast instead of to kind of take the place of blogging, but give it its own space because I didn't want to get too overwhelmed. So I created Krowned Konvos, and then a lot of people know me for like my sub brands, I call them, that are under Krowned Korner. So like I randomly, accidentally started Torch Test, where I go to school at A&T, so I'm in the South. They don't know what torch means. So I had to introduce that, and I would just try different things. It started off with just Starbucks and then smoothies. Everybody always wanted to know what my reviews were. I'm like, y'all trust me? Okay. So I started Torch Test, and then I have the 1010T and Friendship Files, which are like kind of series under Krowned Korner where we spark conversations about different relationships, because that's what Krowned Korner has become, relationships in all entities. So family, friendship, relationships with significant others. 1010T is strictly for significant others. Friendship Files is for, of course, friendships.
I understand you recently graduated, and you're back in school.
Yes, I'm pursuing my master's now.
Oh, yay, Master's Day! I'm here for. What are you getting your master's in?
Clinical mental health counseling.
Oh, that's great. So, how are you going to be able to? Well, you were already kind of doing this while you were in school, but now that you're entering your master's, me being a master's student, it's a lot more harder. So, how are you going to be able to balance all your different brands, getting your second degree, and then kind of like job hunting and your social life, all those different things? How are you going to balance everything out?
Balance is such a big word for me in my life right now because I've really been asking myself these same questions almost every day. I think just finding the fun in it again. I feel like as I've gained more of a following and people start to attach me to my brands, it became more of a task. So taking a backseat and saying like, why did you start this in the first place? It was an escape. Using that as my escape from school, using that as my outlet to be creative and to just offload from all the stressors in the world. So one thing I want to do is kind of just combine all of the things that I love, because my brands are essentially that. It's me combining all the things that I'm passionate about, that I feel like is aligning with my purpose. So like with YouTube, I want to bring my friends along, so that way I'm killing two birds in one stone. I'm spending quality time with them and I'm putting out good content, things like that. So the way I'm trying to create balance is to kind of just like merge everything that can be merged, and then also just finding the fun in having a brand again. Not being so serious and trying to be so perfect and aesthetically pleasing and this and that. Just putting my personality back into my brands is what I think will be the best way for me to try to juggle. Because you're right, masters is nothing like undergrad.
It's definitely not. So, although your original reason for creating all these different brands were kind of just an escape route from other things, but what is your ultimate goal when you as you were creating all these different brands?
I always just wanted to create community, like be what I felt like I needed, somewhere where we can have discussions that other people run away from, somewhere we can be real with ourselves and one another, somewhere that's kind of like a sacred space, which is why I added the corner to Krowned Korner, because I wanted to be like, if I'm going through something, I know I can click on Krowned Korner and it's going to be a video, a post, a quote, something that's going to help me through what I'm going through. So that's kind of the overlying like goal, I feel like, with the brands.
Okay, I really like that. I love it. I love it. I love it. So one of my favorite discussions is from Krowned Korner. I'm here for the 1010T. And I think it's just more so because I've been very interested in just love languages. And as I'm growing, I'm learning, what I like, how I like to be loved, how to love others in their respective manners and things like that. So let's just get into love languages. I feel like this is a very important topic that not everybody knows and understands, or is just now learning about it. So what are the different types of love languages?
Okay, so there's physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time, and receiving gifts. Those are the 5 love languages that were created in the book by the author. So that's what we usually go by, like that's the standard or whatever.
All right, so tell me, what are your love languages? How did you learn about them? How did you figure out what was perfect for you?
Okay, so I first discovered the love languages while I was in high school, and I was in a little situationship. So I was like, oh, let's find out what our love languages are. He didn't pay me no mind, but I was very interested in them. So when I first did the test, acts of service was number 1, and I believe quality time was a close second. And it stayed that way for a very long time until I got out of that situation. And then it became acts of service remained my top 1, and then words of affirmation shot up to the top. So I was like, what's going on? So I started to do my research, and I realized that it's because I used to have that quality time because I wasn't out of state. I was down the street from my significant other. We saw each other a lot and spent that time together. So it's something that I was getting fulfilled. But now that I'm single and I'm by myself, words of affirmation was something I wasn't really getting anymore. So it was something I started to long for. So those are it fluctuates with those. But definitely number 1 has always been acts of service. So that is my love language.
And so let's break everything down so everyone can understand. So let's go step by step. So what are acts of service?
Okay, so acts of service can look different for everybody, but overline, it's just like when someone does those little things to assist you. So for me, with my brands, if somebody says that, oh, like, let me hold the camera because I see you struggling trying to record this video, like, that'll make my heart melt. It'll make my heart flutter a little bit. Like little things like that, or bigger things like, if I had a very long week, but I have to drive an hour away for an event, if someone volunteers, like, hey, I'll come with you, I'll drive you, that's something that's going to make me, I value that over other things that might be somebody else's love language. So acts of service is somebody acting in a way that aids you in whatever capacity. So words of affirmation, it's like somebody affirming you, like how we feed ourselves, or we should be feeding ourselves words of affirmation. Having that from your significant other means a lot for you. Like if you change your hair, oh my God, your hair looks really good like that, I love it on you. Or if you wear like yellow is your color. Like hearing those little things that are affirmative, it's like, wow, I feel good. Like not someone just showing that they love you, but also saying that they love you, they admire you, they're proud of you. Yeah. And then we have quality time. So spending time with your significant other, you don't have to be doing nothing, or you could be doing something. You could be laid up watching Netflix, or you could be taking a walk in the park. Like just spending time with the people that you love would be quality time. Receiving gifts is one that a lot of people aren't proud to have because they look at it as materialistic, but in my opinion, it's nowhere near materialistic. It's like if I go to the store and I see something that I know my significant other would either look good in or would like, I just get it for them. Like, or if I'm getting food and I get them some too, like things like that can be, you're receiving gifts is like, oh, this person thought of me while they were out in their day-to-day activities. Right. That's something that's going to fuel you. And which one didn't I say? Quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, words of affirmation. Physical touch is another one. I think I forgot that in the intro. I might have. But physical touch doesn't always have to mean like romantic or like that level of intimacy. It can literally just be holding hands, giving hugs, exchanging that skin to skin contact in whatever way is what I would say would be physical touch.
And so I kind of have a question for me personally, but like, how do you try to make sure that you're not expressing your personal love language on somebody else? Because I feel like that was one of my issues when I started, getting into love languages and understanding what I like. I think one of my love languages is acts of service. And so, if anything, I think it's between acts of service and I guess gifts also, because it's like sometimes I'll willingly help you with something just because I know you need help, or I'll willingly buy you something just because I know that you'll like it or something like that. So I kind of express that onto somebody else, and that wasn't their love language. So how would you go about situations like that?
Girl, you and me both, because I think naturally, like how we've always been taught to treat people how you want to be treated. It's so evident when it comes to love languages, because you just want to love people the way that you would want to be loved.
Exactly.
But what happens is once you're doing that and they're not responding to it in a way that it's like, oh my God, I love you, thank you so much, because that's not their love language. Now you're looking like, you ungrateful. I can't believe I did this for you and you did it. So I had to really dead that whole mindset. Like, relearn everything that I thought that I knew about love languages, because I thought, okay, these are my love languages, you must love them too, but absolutely not. So I just started to, for one, guys are very different from us. They hear love languages, they're like, I don't want to do that, do this quiz for what? So I would say, have that conversation, say, hey, like, I know my love languages, do you know yours? If they know theirs, then you can start there. If they don't, let's take the quiz together. You can take yours again, y'all can take it together. It can be like a cute little date. And then once you learn theirs, figure out how they want that love language to be expressed to them, like how they want you to act in order to best fit their love language. And then you have to be intentional. You have to say, you know what, I'm gonna get this gift, but even though that's not his love language, I'm gonna go ahead and affirm some words too. So write in a card like, you are the best, boys be playing games, you're the best game player in the world, like little stuff like that to just reaffirm them and make them feel good. Like, you kind of just have to create a balance, because naturally I think we're always going to love the way that we want to be loved, but also making sure that you're not forgetting about them and their needs as well. And a personal example for me was, I was dealing with someone who words of affirmation was their number one, and I was not really like a mushy person that's going to be like, oh my God, I just love the way you did this. Like, that was just not me, but that's something that they needed in order to feel fulfilled. So I had to kind of put that, I guess, stuck in my ways little mentality away and say, you know what, like, it's not gonna kill me to say, you know what, you do look nice today, I really do like your haircut, like, so you gotta make some sacrifices.
Definitely true. So I know that usually people go with like their top 2 or their top 3 love languages. Is there a limit in number?
No, I think when people take the test, I feel like you interpret things the way that you want to interpret things. Like, for me, when I first took the test, I'm like, yeah, this is all I need, and that's it. But now that I'm older, I'm like, I feel like the test it's not like a one and done. Like, it gives you scores. So even if your score for physical touch is 2 and your one for acts of service is 10, that doesn't mean you only need acts of service. You just don't need physical touch or want physical touch as much as you will want acts of service. So I think it should be like a healthy rotation. Like, you should get all of the 5 love languages, all of them. I feel like we all deserve all of them. But I think it's like what holds the most weight. What holds the most weight for you might be acts of service. What holds the most weight for me might be acts of service. But what holds the most weight from a common denominator that we both have could be words of affirmation. That doesn't mean that they don't like acts of service, So I don't think that there's a limit. I think that you just have to process what your love languages mean to you, and then how you're going to incorporate them into your lifestyle.
I like how you said that, because I know one of my concerns were also like, dang, this is my love language, but I kind of like this too. Like, can I just have all 5 love languages? And the fact that you said that you have to have it in rotation is like, yeah, that's true. Like, why not? Like, why can't I like physical touch and have words of affirmation? Like, to be very honest, I feel like you need all of them, but like,
All
you know,
of them.
like the test shows, like one is kind of heavier than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I really like how you said that. And so I also like, you know, the friendship styles. And but I do want to kind of discuss love language when it comes outside of just your boyfriend and girlfriend, girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend, you know, your significant other. What about friendships? What about family? Like, does love language apply to that too?
Yes, for sure. And in the same ways, honestly, it's just like the way that my family is going to serve me with their actions isn't going to be the same way that my significant other is going to serve me with actions. But the bottom line is I'm still getting served. So I'll use the example that I used earlier on. If my significant other says, hey, you know, like I'll come with you to this event, I'll drive you there. If my dad offered to do the same thing, at the end of the day, I'm fulfilled no matter who it's coming from. So I don't think it should be like putting it in different categories or different boxes. Of course, there are certain lines that you're not going to cross between family, friends, significant other, but at the end of the day, your love language is for you. However, those people show you that love, it fits the relationship. Like I have sisters. If I say words of affirmation, my sister, the language might sound a lot different. She's like, oh my God, girl, you a baddie. My boyfriend's not telling me that. He's gonna say, you know, you look very beautiful. My dad's gonna say, wow, I'm so proud of the woman you're becoming. Like, I'm still getting what I need, but just in those different, unique ways.
And also, how do you think that growing up that kind of affects your love language? Like, do you feel like maybe because you were lacking in something where you were younger, the need for it is higher in your love language? Do you think that plays a role?
Yes, let me put in a shameless plug to Grow Girl on Instagram, Grow GRL. My girl Bria is amazing. The same week I think I did love languages, she was touching on love languages in her blog, and she talked about her relationship with her father, and it made me reflect on my relationship with my father and my mother, and how growing up in an African household, words of affirmation is not something you're getting a lot. Physical touch, things like that, that's not something that you're getting a lot. You will be getting things like, you know, you'll get, well, the gifts aren't really gifts, it's like things that you need, but you know how it is. But you're getting a lot of like those acts of service. So I'm like thinking, okay, is that why I cling to acts of service? I feel like it can go both ways. It can either be what you long for or what's a requirement or a standard for you. I think I took the standard route with my love languages because my parents, even if they lacked in one area, I'm always going to be, you know, fed. I was blessed enough to have those luxuries in some certain instances. So like that became a standard for me. But when it came to words of affirmation, when it became a close second, it was like those are things that I longed for and had to work to like bring into our family dynamic. So it can go both ways, in my opinion. I think it just depends on the person and the relationship. If you're somebody that had like an absent family member that should have played, you know, a bigger role in your life, all the things that you didn't get from them, you might yearn for in your significant others and your friendships from your other family members to fill that void. So I feel like it's a slippery slope. Like it can go one way or the other. Okay, so yeah, when I was younger, I probably only would have wanted gifts and words and things like that. But as you grow, it's like as you go through different phases in your life, I feel like you require different things because you have a different outlook on the overall idea of love and being loved and things like that. So I think it's a slippery slope. But I really like that question though.
Yeah, and I completely agree also, because I know when I was young, what kind of set the standard for me was more so my dad. He was always a gift giver, always. So anytime he would think about me, he would just buy something unwillingly and just and give it to me. And I don't know if maybe because I'm an only child and I was kind of spoiled, but that kind of set the standard for me for why I loved, you know, either acts of service or the gift, just someone thinking about you and just doing it and helping you out no matter what. And then words of affirmation was really big for me growing up, because my mom, she used to have like a sticker on our refrigerator, and they used to have like a whole bunch of different words of affirmation. And then she'll like say to me like, OMG, you're so beautiful today, or like, oh, you did a great job today, just to continuously affirm me and just allow me to believe in who I am. So that definitely kind of set the standard for a few of my favorite love languages. So yeah, I definitely agree. It is kind of a slippery slope, but I do see how certain things lacking in your childhood and things setting the standard what kind of help you in your love language today.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so let's talk about apology language. That's something really new that I never like really thought about until you had posted it on your page. So tell me more about that.
I was just randomly, I think this was probably when I was retaking the quiz, because I feel like it's important to take the love languages test, like if you go into a new situation. So that's kind of what I did. And I was looking and I saw something about apology languages. I said, hold on, wait a minute. I ain't never heard that before. So I was looking into it, and it's like the same concept, but just for apologies. Like, how do you want someone to express how they feel about whatever the situation was? Like, I'm gonna read them off my phone because I forgot what the exact words were. But once I found that out, it changed the dynamic of a lot of things. Like, it put a lot of things in perspective for me, because I was wondering why it was hard for me to kind of accept certain apologies, because it didn't feel like an apology for me. So what the apology languages are: expressing regret, accepting responsibility, making restitution, genuinely repenting, and requesting forgiveness. So all 5 of them, the underlying issue is the fact that this person is apologizing to you, but the way that they're doing it makes all the difference. So for expressing regret, it's somebody that's like literally just saying, I'm sorry. The words itself can mean so much to you. Somebody saying like, I know I messed up. I know I was wrong. Not trying to gaslight you or anything like that. Just coming out flat out and saying, I'm sorry I did that. That was wrong of me. How can I make it right? How I make it right is kind of going into making restitution. So basically just the action speaking louder than words. So yes, you said you're sorry, but now what? What are you sorry for? How are you going to make it up to me? Like if my sister eats my food, she eat my Chipotle that I was looking forward to eating when I got back home. I don't want to hear you're sorry. I want my Chipotle. So you can be sorry all you want to, but where's my $8 so I can go get another bowl? Like, that's that type of vibe. And then you have genuinely repenting. So the person is apologizing to you, but you want them to remove that characteristic or whatever they did from who they are. So like, you don't want it to happen again, not only to yourself, but to others. So if somebody lied to you, instead of them just saying, I'm sorry, it'll never happen again. Like, no, how does this affect you on a greater scale? Like, how are you going to remove this spirit of lying to people from your character? Like, how are you going to ensure that you're not out here doing this to not only me, but your other loved ones, your future loved ones, things like that? You want the person to grow. Accepting responsibility is just, it says, instead of somebody just saying, I'm sorry, you rather them just admit to their action directly. So I was wrong for da 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 da. I'm not happy about how I said da 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 da. Like, you want to hear the action that's behind whatever the apology is for. And then the last one is requesting forgiveness. Somebody literally like saying, you know what, please forgive me. Like, I really didn't mean to do it. It's kind of a mixture. I feel like they all kind of loop and fit this big puzzle, but again, it's like, what holds more value to you? Mine was somebody that's genuinely repenting. It's bigger than me. I don't want you to do this to anybody else. So don't just be sorry, be better.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, definitely. So where do you think where can you find these apology languages and love languages? Like, where can you take the test?
The website is, I believe, the 5lovelanguages.com. Let me make sure that's true. It's just 5lovelanguages.com. So the number 5lovelanguages.com. There you can take the test. You can read chapters of the book. It's a whole big platform where you can do a lot of different things. So.
And so tell me, what is to come with Krowned Korner, Boys to Queen, Krowned Konvos? Like, what's next?
Oh, my babies. Right now I'm in the process. I really want to start to just put out a lot more meaningful content. I feel like I be sleeping on myself because it's hard balancing everything. Once I find that balance, I definitely want to advance with the YouTube thing. I really want to put emphasis on my 4 pillars that all of my brands are built on, which are life, laughter, learning, and love. So it's live, laugh, learn, love. Lifestyle. People always ask me, I can't post nothing on Instagram without getting like 10 comments of people asking me questions. And I feel like it's a good position to be in. So I'm like, sharing more tips. I'm a very private person. I just live a very public life, if that makes sense. So trying to make sure that I stay true to who I am, but give people what they want to see. So like showing people how I make the things that I post, showing people how I put together outfits, things like that. I want to really do the YouTube thing to its fullest potential. I want to continue to create podcasts because it's so fun. That's probably my favorite thing to do nowadays. And later on down the line, I do like my big goal is I want physical Krowned Korners. Like once I have myself together, I want facilities where I can house all of my brands. So Boys to Kings would be a recreational center for the youth so that instead of being in the streets, there's somewhere where they're getting more than just sports, but they're also getting enrichment and things like that. I want to do mental health counseling services for people that look like us, for us, by us. Child care facilities, because a lot of the times that's what keeps people from getting better and taking care of themselves. And then torch tests, I want to combine that into, I want to start doing teas and things like that. Just things that I love, kind of just creating more of it so I can to give it to my community. So I would do like a little cafe or something, or convenience store. It'd be real cute. So those are some ideas that I have. My major idea is to get physical Krowned Korners in back home where I am now in different cities, and just really make that impact in the community more than just virtually.
And so when you're coming up with your variety of content or like your ideas, like what is inspiring you to kind of take these steps every day?
My experiences. For me to be so young, I feel like it's an honor to have experienced and seen some of the things that I've seen. And even though it was painful, I feel like pain plus passion is what equals purpose. So taking the things that, might have hurt me or might have broken or been meant to break me, but clearly didn't break me, combining that with what I'm passionate about, which is talking to people, writing, things like that. I love to be, creative and put together pieces. I feel like that is how I'm ultimately pursuing my purpose. So I could literally be in the car and I see something or I think about something. I'm like, hey, Siri, make a new note. And I'll just be like, write this down. Like, I want to do this. And I just do it. Like, once you have your plan, put it in action, because we don't know how much time we have left. And that's what I spoke on my last podcast episode. Leave people with something to remember you by. So even after I get called home, people are going to have my podcast, my blog posts, my YouTube videos to always look back on and have a piece of me that's tangible. So that's what keeps me going. Like the idea that people are going to benefit from this years from now is what keeps me going.
I like how you mentioned that, because that was about to be my next question. Like, what legacy do you hope to leave with all these different brands? So if you want to go into more detail about that.
I feel like just showing people that you don't have to have everything together. Like, you don't have to be this perfect poster child for anything. Just being yourself is so rich within itself. Like, all I do is just be me. All I do is just take what I've learned from whatever happened in my life, whatever I've intentionally learned, whatever I've learned on accident or learned the hard way, and making sure I pay it forward so that other people don't have to go through the same exact things. That sharing that wealth, sharing that knowledge is what I feel like I want to be remembered for. Being transparent, being unafraid to step against the status quo. Like, be who you are and embrace who you are. But if you don't like any piece of who you are, that doesn't mean that you ignore it or that you try to mask it. That just means that you show the world that, hey, I'm imperfect, but I'm working through it. I think it means so much more, because people that have known me for years, it's like I've always had it in me, but now it's not only in me, it's on me. Like, you can see it. It's radiating because I'm not keeping it to myself no more.
Period. Hello. I'm weak. Okay, that was amazing. That was amazing. So, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
I did want to say thank you so much for bringing me on here. I'm so proud of you too, because we run in the same family. Our families intertwined. So I'm really proud of you as well. You've always been like that superstar from Models Inc. to now we good vibes with Yaya. You was a Hampton Pirate showing them everything. It just gives, and I'm excited to see the rest of your journey. So thank you so much for sharing this space with me and having this conversation.
Thank you so much for just coming on here. I feel like you being younger than me, I'm still inspired every day by the things that you post in your brand, and just seeing you like become like just a grown woman and just manifesting into what God is calling you to be. So I really, really thank you so much for even coming on my show and talking with me. Thank you so much.
Of course. Anytime, okay?
Hey friends, thank you so much for tuning in to Good Vibes with Yaya. If there's a topic that you want us to discuss or know someone that will be a great guest for our show, make sure you follow us and DM us on Instagram at Good Vibes with Yaya, or send us an email at goodvibeswithyaya@gmail.com.